I heard someone say his superstar card expired. Put up Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
Rebounds.
When Shaq was dominating the NBA, Shaquille O'Neal, not Shaq over here.
I mean, but you could have taped it. Is that really biased or is that really just the truth? We don't know yet. This man can lie and give his own lie.
And
That's my favourite saying. I got to stop you right there.
The Swiftie.
I don't know.
There will be no Taylor Swift slander.
No, but I know.
I'm afraid.
Welcome to the More Than Ball Show, House of Nay Saga, supported by Spotify. Shout out to the team. It is season 2, episode 14, and I am Ola.
I'm Paige.
Hey, it's Shakila.
I'm Eamon.
I'm Mo.
Yeah.
Woo!
Who is Mo? Exactly.
Genius.
Yeah.
Let us know. Tell us about you.
I mean, I'm Mo. I love basketball. I'm a big fan of the More Than Ball Show, so it's an honour to be here today.
Oh, no.
Whoa. But we're a fan of something of yours.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you a fan of?
Host of the HoopGenius podcast.
Yes.
The best daily podcast in the world.
Facts.
Love that.
Every morning, 7 a.m. You can tune in. Myself, 3-time NBA champion BJ Armstrong.
Come on.
And our regular guest on the show, 23-year NBA executive, Mr. Scott Perry. So we break down the game,
Big
on the court,
money.
contracts, everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I do a little bit of TV here and there.
Easy.
Just a little bit. I mean, I should be doing more, but we go step by step, you know what I'm saying?
We love that. Tell me, how did you get into it? Like, what's the story?
I just love basketball my whole life.
Okay.
And I'm just really arrogant. And I used to tell people, like, you know, when you're like 10, 11 years old, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go be in the NBA, right? And then you get to like 17, 18, and you're like, I'm going to get cooked. Like,
You're like that guy on the State Farm advert. That's like, I can. And he has multiple different things
like,
he could do.
I played with one of James Harden's friends who played like college.
Yeah.
And he just absolutely destroyed me when I was like 16 at basketball. Destroyed me at basketball.
Just to clarify.
And it was like a moment where I was like, well, if this guy is not even going to get drafted, what the hell am I doing with my life?
I mean, you still made it in the NBA.
So this is what I'm saying. I'm really arrogant because I would say to people, even if I don't make it to the league, I'm going to make it to the NBA. So now I'm, you know, at the games a lot of the time. I'm living some of the lifestyle of an NBA player, just with a lot less money. But but you know, it's worked out pretty nicely for me, and I just figured out a way to pivot from being on the court to finding a way to be involved in the game off the court.
Yeah.
The transition, did it come like seamlessly or was it more of like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to make this work?
What it was, actually, it's a funny story. I wanted to be a coach because I thought if I can't play, I want to be a coach.
Yeah.
And I spoke to, you know, when the NBA teams come over to London, I managed to speak to an NBA coach and convince him to hire me as an intern for the summer.
Wow.
And then he says, if it goes well, I would look at an assistant coaching kind of thing to get you on the track. And the team he was coaching fired him that summer.
Oh.
Oh,
wow.
So I never got to have that, right? So I'm thinking, damn, coach is out the window. But at the time, I was in uni, I did a law degree, and I would just tweet about basketball non-stop though, right? That's like, I'm even in uni, like first year of uni, I remember people going partying every night, and they're like, Mo, you coming? I'm like, nah. They're like, why not? I'm like, Celtics on it too.
I've got a tweet soup.
Come on.
Won't be back in time.
Honestly. And I would just tweet about basketball all the time. And then one of my mentors, Taff, shout out to Taff. So when I was in school, they paired like every year 7 up with a year 12 to kind of mentor them. And then I got paired with a guy called Hutch, who's like a big DJ now. He does a lot of raves and stuff. And then his best friend Taff, they both play basketball together. And so I was just hanging out with those guys. And so we just stayed in touch over the years because he's a Lakers fan and I like to roast the Lakers fans. You know what I mean?
We'll get onto that.
I see you, Shakila. I see you. But we stayed in touch, right? And Taff is just like, he's so connected in the world of, he worked in music, worked in art, now he works on like Formula One and all sorts of different things. And he called me and he was like, I'm at this conference thing in New York and there's this new website starting and they're looking for writers to write for the website. And I'm like 18. I'm like, what the hell are you telling me this, bro? I don't care. And he goes, no, you should write for them. I said, I don't know about being a writer. He was like, brother, all you do is tweet about the NBA.
Yeah,
So
Just take all of those tweets and put them on one page.
You got
and so I started writing about basketball. And I remember like I'd write it and like the first time I wrote something, it got like 12 views. And I'm just like, yeah, this ain't for me. And then the man them around me, they were just like, bro, just keep going. Like you never know what can happen. And then I started writing, more and more, and the views really started picking up to the point, at one point, I had 1 million readers a month on the stuff I was writing. And through that, I was able to get a bunch of interviews and stuff. So I was the first person in the world who had a story, because Draymond Green said to me, this is the last time you're going to see this version of the Warriors before Kevin Durant joined, because all the rumors were there about Kevin Durant. So then I wrote the article about, you know, this, they're going to break up the team this summer. And I remember uploading that, and I think I went downstairs from my flat to let one of my boys in. By the time I come upstairs, there's like 35,000 hits in like 2 minutes. And I was like, this is going wild, right? So then I got other writing opportunities offered elsewhere. But I noticed that people's attention span was getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah. Retention is mad.
Honestly. And it was around the same time where like Vice fired all their writers and just hired video staff, and a whole bunch of other companies fired their writers. And I thought, well, if I keep doing this, even though it's going well now, I'm going to be cooked. So I just started doing YouTube videos that were getting like no views. Do you know what I mean? But it was the practice
We've been there.
of...
Still there.
But it's like, here's the thing that's crazy about YouTube. You never know who's watching it, right? So you can have a video and it has 100 views, and you think, oh, that's rubbish, I've only got 100. I did a video, it had 436 views at a time, right? I got an email in my email inbox, and I did a video about a certain player. That player's coach emailed me telling me that he loved what I was saying in the video.
Wow.
And so I'm looking at it like, 400 views, that's rubbish. You know, I spent like 2 days working on this video. But one of those 400
That's all you
views
need.
is the most important one.
Yeah.
That's why I always say to people, like obviously Steph, who heads up Nate Saga and is responsible for putting you guys together, she always says impact over numbers. And I'm like, I really don't care how many followers someone has, how many views someone gets. As long as the content is good, it speaks for itself, and the right people will recognize that. So I started just doing YouTube stuff and like social media, little videos here and there. And then I got picked up by a channel called 24 Swish, who wanted me to lead that. It doesn't exist anymore. But it was the company that makes Football Daily, which is a huge football show. They wanted to do a basketball version. And that company is owned by Sky Sports.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't know at the time, but they used that as like a trial run. And then after doing that for like 6 months, then I got the call from Sky Sports. They were like, we want you to do our TV shows. So I didn't like do an interview or anything. I just
be a part of it.
just be myself and putting out work. Do you know what I mean?
What a way of like hard work, right? Organic.
Yeah, that's the short version. Anyway, that's the super short version. Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
I'm sure there was a lot of highs and lows, but
a lot.
But you're here today, man.
It's a blessing.
That's it.
It's a blessing.
Come on.
Appreciate you guys having me.
No, it's wicked.
Of course. Like, so I guess like one of the things that is excellent about your show is the fact that you break down the plays.
Yeah.
So like where, like obviously you wanted to become a coach, but where did that sort of court vision come from in terms of your ability to be able to say, this is what they're doing, this is how they're making variations within the play, and this is why it's working against this team?
So I spent a lot of time in my life injured. So I've had
vision.
like so many injuries, it's impossible to believe. But all the time I was injured, I still never missed a practice, never missed a game, never missed a training session. And I'm just watching and I'm seeing what's happening, even at a very low level. And then I'm watching other basketball on TV and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm seeing
The difference.
and I'm seeing
what
like,
works,
what can we take and implement here and so on and so forth. And then because obviously basketball is not hugely popular in the UK, a lot of people would come to me to learn how to play basketball. And then I'm teaching them how to play. But then a lot of the players who were playing, they wanted to improve. And if they couldn't find a coach that was available, and they still want to work out, they'd holler at me and be like, yo, are you doing anything? Do you want to work out? And then that gets into like the micro skills of it. So it's just like, you can play, but what can we do to make this move cleaner? What can we do to really, you know, improve this element of your game? And it's like those micro skills that you now see at the highest level with the NBA players. How is James Harden able to create separation on his step back compared to player X who isn't able to create that separation? And it's like those little details. And that's just through hours and hours of watching basketball and studying it and breaking it down, watching it again in slow motion, watching it again and again. And like, and it's just like learning anything, right? And then of course, trying it out for myself at a very awful level. Like I'd see when I was a kid, I'd watch NBA players do a move. You remember when Paul Pierce hit that move on LeBron where he like dribbles between the legs, spins, then steps back.
If you guys are listening to the audio right now, it's become a very Celtics-dominated conversation.
You can leave the show with us now.
We in Boston.
So I watched him do that move, right? And this was like when we had like dial-up internet, right? So it's taken like 30 minutes to buffer this one clip. And like I've watched it, run to the garden, tried it, run back inside, watched it again, run back out. And I'm just like running between the two, trying to copy it. And it's like, it sounds ridiculous, but it's just that hours and hours of obsession every day. Like I wake up, it's all I think about. I go if I do go to sleep, it's all I dream about. And it's just that level of obsession. And then now watching the NBA, unlike a lot of TV shows out there who have people that don't actually watch the NBA, we watch every game, or like I try and watch at least every game, unless it's like the Wizards and the Grizzlies and everyone's injured on the Grizzlies. I'm just like,
and the Wizards.
But here's the sick and twisted thing about me is I can't not watch it. I'm like, well, what if something crazy happens? So, but yeah, it's just obsession. That's the best way I can describe it. So
no, that's beautiful, man. I love the way that you explained it as well, because I think, especially like when we think about young players that are probably listening to this, thinking about how do they get to that level of technicality, like I think the word obsession is it. We don't have the resources in the UK to be able to like have a hoop outside your house that you can take 500 free throws a day. But if there is something that you want that much, then the goal is to get to the NBA. If it's not to play in the NBA, like that transition that you made and decision that you made is the reason that you're where you are.
Absolutely. And it's also like there's other paths. Do you know what I mean? You can play in Europe, you can play even here in the UK, the game, the British Basketball League's growing. Like there's so many more paths now. When I was young, like the BBL players, or British Basketball League players, because I'm on that
Yeah.
But like,
you said when you were young. No, you said when you were young. So back then it was the BBL.
Yeah, all right. So, but when I was young, I remember like I would go to some BBL games. Yeah. But then like during the week.
This sentence, though.
That's
a £5
But like during the week, I remember one time I went in Sainsbury's. And one of the guys who was playing in the game is working in Sainsbury's at checkout. And I said, do you play basketball? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, what are you doing here? He goes, well, like basketball doesn't pay enough to... But now, fortunately, the league and other leagues around Europe and everything is in a position where it can be a full-time career because of how the game has evolved.
Yeah.
It's true.
Definitely. What's the worst injury?
The worst injury, I've dislocated my shoulder 6 times and it just won't ever be back to normal because it tore all the tendons inside of it. Tore my meniscus, tore my patella tendon, tore all the tendons in my ankle and then this ankle. So it was just like basically everything possible.
Have you ever done an episode about the recovery of an NBA player in regards to it, like relating so much to yourself being injured?
I did an episode with Kevin Ware. If you guys remember him,
he played at London Lions one year.
Yeah. So he played at Louisville and he had the worst injury. If you're listening to this and you want to see something horrifying,
I don't even want to.
Search it on YouTube.
Have you seen it?
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
I remember watching it. I was in Spain when this happened.
Oh.
I think that was the first NCAA final that I was watching, like March Madness that I was watching ever in my life. And I was like on FaceTime to my brother and that happened, but I could continue.
So he takes a shot and the defense closes him out anyway. He lands from his shot. And his shin snaps. His bone comes out of his leg.
Oh,
his bone is just exposed.
No, forget the blood. The bone is out. Yeah.
But yeah, I get it, but I just mean how gruesome.
It was the most horrifying thing ever. So that's one really, really early episode. So we did an episode with him about his recovery and his journey. And then, I've spoken to various players, various people within the NBA about their stories. And I feel like everyone's story is different, but there is one common denominator in every story, and that's just refusing to quit. Because with
Shafi,
injuries,
listening?
I'm paying attention.
Yeah, she's awake.
With injuries, like really and truly, there is a world in which I could have played basketball at some level somewhere in the world, but I quit. Do you know what I mean? I just decided that I'm going to take a different path. Is there part of me that wishes that I persevered just to see where that path would take me? Yeah, there is. But, I can't look back on that. But the one thing every player I talk to about their injuries is that is the only thing on their mind is you just have to get stronger, have to get better, have to get back to it. And you don't get back to how you were before. You get back stronger than you were before.
That's nice.
That's a bar.
Clicking for you, girl. You got it.
Man.
You got this. You're walking.
It's so funny that I am very slowly, but it's so funny that you said that about like coming back stronger because I was like, well, I guess this is it for me. I'm 29 now, and okay, maybe I'll find like a lower league or something. But I'm like, do you know what? I haven't accomplished what I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I want to play in the Olympics one day.
Yeah.
And then now, like, there's so many opportunities for Great Britain basketball with the new coach that we've got. We are entering the World Cup. I don't know when the last time we entered that was. So yeah, and the fact that I don't get to compete in it, or at least attempt to this summer, is like killing me. And I'm just like, I have to get back and get better, because I feel like I was going up. And like seeing this injury with other players in the NBA and even in like the British Basketball League, I'm just like, will I be able to do it? But
it's
like,
not part of the game.
Yeah, I'm just motivated with like all the things that are coming up for British basketball right now, like London Lions doing their thing, like Great Britain doing its thing. Like, I feel like my time is coming. I just have to be patient.
Minor setback, major comeback.
Yes, let me write it down now.
Yeah, you should write it down, put it behind you.
Yes,
but yeah,
man.
definitely. Because I think even like me this season coming back as well, I feel like I definitely think I'm better than I ever was. And I think, I mean, I'll be...
Talk your stuff, Ola.
I'll be completely
Come on.
honest, yeah? I mean, being a player that is big-breasted, heavy-chested, yeah?
I can relate.
Yeah, and actually now not having one, my shot is smooth, right?
Nice.
Does it make a difference?
Yeah, it makes the world of difference. Like, there's just not... The collision doesn't happen the same way.
I would never know.
You don't have to be as mindful when you shoot, when you go up and so on. But I actually think, outside of the fact that I now have 1.5 boobs or half a boob, I do think that it's also because I was in the gym. Like, as soon as I was ready to shoot, I was there and I was working, and I had to do the work to get my arm from basically my hand not being able to reach my shoulder to being able to get it over my head. And like, we had the conversation, and actually some people don't get that. I didn't even know that. I thought it was just expected that you were going to recoup to that level. It was only when you told me that some people don't get that level of mobility back that I was like, wow. And so like, I think all of those things, as you find them out, give you more hope and more will to keep going. But yeah, I'm doing things. I'm jumping higher than I ever was. Maybe again, I've lost the boobs. The compression. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Some kgs have gone down, but like, actually, realistically, like, the game is different, and it is that you can come back better if you choose that you're going to. I just think it's
all
a
an
mindset
option.
thing.
Yeah,
it is
it's
an
up
option.
to you.
Yeah.
It's a mindset.
Just like, you see how Mo was saying about like, okay, the views, he had 20 views one day and 400 views. Just so you know, Ola, I'm keeping up with you on TikTok. And listen, you are motivating me. I'm telling you, every day.
I appreciate it, man.
I don't tell you enough, but don't worry, I'm watching.
Yeah, I was at a company, so like, my company had like a kickoff.
My company, you know.
No, not my company. No, it's not mine. The company I work at.
Basically is
had a kickoff, and I saw one of my friends that I haven't seen in like, I don't know, like, I haven't seen her basically probably since before everything, so a year and a bit. And she came to hug me, and she was like, oh, I've been watching your TikToks. And she was like, I don't want to sound weird, but I can feel how strong you are. Like, as she hugged me, and I was like, oh wow, like those things, they're lovely to hear. So thank you, I appreciate that.
We're all following you.
Let's get into the playoffs.
Whoa. Okay, so we got 2 Celtics fans, we got 2 Bucks fans, and we got a Lakers fan that probably is wearing a t-shirt. Why are you wearing a t-shirt?
I think I'm just a LeBron James fan.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
You can't really see them now.
That's your way of getting out of the roast that is coming.
Yeah, sure am.
So while we are here, this is your opportunity. Give us the roast. Like, tell us what you really think of these teams this season. What has been going right? What's been going wrong? And what do you think about the playoffs?
Yeah.
Who do you want to start with, the Lakers or the Bucks?
Yeah, let's start with Lakers.
We'll start with the Lakers. Well,
No. Let's start with the Bucks so that we can forget about it.
Well, the Milwaukee Bucks are in an interesting situation, right? Because they have a very aged roster.
Yeah.
So you're looking at their team. Everyone on their team, with the exception of Giannis, and, you know, I know Pat Connaughton has a great vertical leap, but they don't have really any superior athletes. And that's why they match up with the Pacers intrigues me so much. Because you saw in game 2 last night, the Pacers won that game, and they were pressing full court, harassing Damian Lillard the whole way he was coming up the floor. And you saw the difference in Dame in the first half of the game and the second half of the game. Like, I think combined between both second halves in game 1 and game 2, he's only scored... And I know Amy's got stats, do you know what I mean? He's only scored like 8 points in both second halves combined. So it's like, can they maintain that level of intensity over the 7-game series? And can the Bucks do anything to adjust to that sheer level of physicality and
without
have
Giannis
the
as
endurance?
well.
Yeah,
Right?
without
They're gonna
Giannis.
have to they're gonna have to just play smarter than harder. Because if you're gonna try and keep up with this young athletic team, you're just gonna tire yourself out.
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
Giannis, Siakam by himself out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
honestly, I'm shocked that they took game 1, but I was like, okay, it's
I mean,
game 1.
Dame-
Do you know what I mean?
But Dame really came out though. Like,
But honestly, like game 1, it's really like it really doesn't matter.
It was the first playoff game for pretty much their whole
Yeah.
roster except
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Siakam.
yeah.
So it's like you saw that with a few of the other teams that played as well. OKC, they had a shaky game 1 because it's a big moment. Your first ever playoff game. Just the energy inside the arena
different.
of
Yeah,
a
it's
playoff
different.
game.
different.
Yeah.
Even if you go as a fan, if you go to a regular season game and you go to a playoff game, it's two different worlds.
Yeah.
It's two, and then I know you guys can't relate, but if you go to a Celtics finals game, because you guys ain't going to be seeing the
different.
finals soon.
It's different.
But yeah, so the Bucks,
Whatever, man.
the Bucks concerns me is with the physicality, and then also, okay, Dame Lillard's playing great basketball right now. Is he still going to be able to play this level of basketball when Giannis comes back? Because right now,
he's
this is
leaving.
the Damian Lillard show.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's Damian Lillard, and then he's basically setting the table for the other guys when
Yeah.
he can't score himself.
Mm-hmm.
But when Giannis comes back, Giannis isn't a role player. He's not Brook Lopez. He's not Pat Bev. He demands the ball himself. Doesn't
Yeah.
demand it, but to be most effective. And I know the theory of, we'll run a Giannis and Dame pick and roll.
Yeah, and it hasn't worked.
Giannis will drive to the hoop and kick, or Giannis
Yeah.
will post up and kick. Okay, cool. But when are we going to see it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's been the entire regular season.
And we haven't seen
and they
it,
started doing more with Doc Rivers, but then they lost a whole bunch of games with Doc Rivers. And now Giannis is coming back, and you saw with Kawhi coming back in game 2, that first game back after injury,
not
you know.
what it
It's
is.
tough.
So Shaquille probably speaks to that more than me. Like the first game back with your team after an injury, just that
Adjustment
smoothness
period.
on the court.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's not like regular season, it's
Yeah.
playoffs. So everyone's like
It's a different intensity.
Yeah.
And it's your first game.
So
When
there's
it's
no
everyone
trial,
else's like
there's
7.
no like margin of error really.
The one advantage you do have though is game planning. If you're crafty with how you announce your players coming back,
Yeah.
you can throw the other team off if they prepared to play without Giannis. You heard Luka after game 1 saying they prepared to play against Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi didn't play, so it threw off their game plan.
The scout changes.
So there's that element to it. But even Giannis coming off a calf injury, and now he's got to run up and down the court and chase Obi Toppin or whoever he's going to be matched up with. That's a long night as well, even for an athlete as superhuman as Giannis. So that's my concern with the Bucks. And then long-term concern with the Bucks is if this team isn't good enough to get it done now, next
Will
year,
they ever?
Brook Lopez is a year older,
Yeah,
Dame's a year older.
Yeah.
Giannis, when's he going to start looking at like, okay, maybe this isn't the place for me now.
Yeah.
We traded away Drew Holiday, and everyone says defense wins championships, and you traded away one of the best defensive point guards
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
one of the best offensive point guards. And I'm like, well, are we really surprised
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
happening
yeah.
here? So, but having said that, maybe they put it off. This is the great thing about the playoffs is
Anything can happen.
anything can happen.
Yeah. And that series is 1-1 now, so.
Yeah, it's 1-1.
But
Pacers
it's
stole
kind
it
of
on the
like
road.
if you see like the difference between how Tyrese played compared to the first game to the second game, he really like if he doesn't play well, they don't play well. He has to be the star of that team in order for them to move. So it was almost like it was quite funny because like Dame was like, oh yeah, like you never know, da, 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 da. You can't be saying game time like da da da.
Yeah.
And then he literally like he definitely played how Dame played game 1. If not better. Like he had to make sure he had to score, like because if he does it, he can't be a role player on that team. He has to do his job, and I think that's what they did different in game 2 from what I saw. It's hard to
I'm
see.
not
It's sort of a
mad.
little bit like.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's sort of a little bit like the in-season game. Like actually what we saw in terms of the in-season tournament game for Tyrese was just that he wasn't actually able to, he wasn't
mean,
able to feed the ball.
We were excited back then. We're very excited. I mean, even before the in-season tournament, everyone was like, okay, like
He was
Pacers
having a
are
good
s-
season.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're having a good
he got
season.
injured.
Yeah,
I heard someone say his superstar card expired.
He got his old.
He just got it.
But
they weren't even showing these games on national
but
TV.
here's the thing, though. I'm not mad at Siakam being the best player on
Yeah.
the Pacers, right? This is why you've traded for an NBA
what you need,
champion.
yeah.
This is why you brought him
Yeah.
here. I'm more than happy. Siakam, you're going to go score 30-plus points tonight.
And he does.
Go do that.
Yeah.
Tyrese, if you're struggling, because he's not been the same since his injury came back.
Yeah.
He's
But
a
the biggest
good
thing...
facilitator as well, so.
Yeah,
But the biggest thing for the Pacers that I think people underrate is ever since they traded Buddy Hield away,
Yeah.
Buddy Hield being such a prolific three-point shooter, his gravity on the court stretched out the defense, which allowed Halliburton to get more open looks for himself. Now, without Buddy Hield, you're not as concerned about the other guys. And if they do knock down their shots, fantastic. Like last night, you got guys like Naismith and Nemhard knocking down shots. But if it's a night where their shots aren't falling, it's going to be almost impossible for Tyrese to get himself going. So that's the problem that the Pacers have. So it's interesting. I don't think either of those teams wins the East.
Well, we don't need to talk about the Bucks anymore. Let's talk about Lakers. Let's move on to the Lakers. Yeah, your roast for the Lakers. What is wrong with that team?
Roast for the Lakers. I don't have a roast for the Lakers.
Can't roast the king.
We can roast the king.
Okay.
Because that crown needs to come off.
A Joker basically told the king what I want.
Exactly.
That's a fact. And then a little point guard from Canada came in and knocked down the game winner over the guy who spent all day claiming he was the best defender in the NBA.
So honestly,
crying about it.
And then cried about it, bro.
Like, my thing is this. It's the playoffs, right? So why are you complaining and being upset about a regular season award?
Gritty,
When you hear players talk, right, the only thing I want to hear from a player in the playoffs, anytime a reporter asks them a question about an award, is I'm focused on winning a championship. If your answer is anything but that, why do I care? Do you know what I mean?
Why is your mind even on that?
So, like, they asked Joe Mazzulla, the coach of the Celtics, no Celtics were nominated for any awards. He said, good. Good.
We're going for the finals.
There's
MVP
one goal.
and
In
championship.
every season, your goal is not to win Defensive Player of the Year. Your goal is to win an NBA championship.
Yeah.
So,
I can empathize because we've said that he's healthy. Like you I mean, I feel like it was a little bit of an insult, but also like a plug that you said most improved player of the year.
I was giving him his flowers.
best ability is availability.
Like
Like, he's been here.
He's been
Yeah.
here. Like he turned up because
Yeah.
we all know that last season he didn't turn up, and consistently inconsistent has been how we've branded him. But I feel like for you to be in a position where you think you could go from that to this and that improvement demands you defensive player of the year.
Also,
is
In a season
wild.
where Gobert has had his season
Honestly.
on the
also,
Timberwolves.
this is the other thing, right? The Wolves were tied for the 1 seed
Yeah.
pretty much the whole season. Okay. Now, I know Wembanyama's in the conversation for defensive player, but look at the team around him. Now, I'm looking at the Lakers. You have LeBron James. You have Anthony Davis. You've gone all in. You spent all your salary money on this team, and you're in the play-in. Why are you getting an award?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like you should be nominated for an award? Focus
You
on
haven't
winning
done
the
anything,
games. There was a time where people were thinking the Lakers might not even make the 10th seed. Do you know what I mean? So why are you worried about individual awards? This is a team game.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know
And
what
I feel
mean?
like his attitude, so like the specific clip, if you guys haven't seen it, they'll probably clip it in now, when he was being questioned about what happened on that final shot. And he literally just said he made the shot and
Mic
dropped the
drop.
mic and stormed off.
But I think that's him mad at himself of multiple things that went wrong in that game.
They were leading by 20 points.
Yeah.
And that was not the only situation in which AD could have done better. Because if you actually saw that transition, it isn't only that he made the shot, right?
Yeah.
AD was already at half court by the point LeBron was probably at the free throw line, pegging it down, and he didn't get there. Like, that shot was AD's fault, as well as the one from...
No, that's what I'm saying. He's probably mad.
Yeah,
No,
understood,
yeah.
but there was more than one occasion.
That's what I'm saying. He's mad at multiple things.
No, it's not
As
just
in
more
with
than
your
one
length.
occasion. It's not more than one occasion. It's pretty much the whole second half in both of the
Yeah.
games. He's gassed out.
Yeah.
Like, I understand playing in the altitude of Denver is tough. But Jokic is up and down. Like, this is
And he's
a
always
big
like,
man.
he's
mad,
this guy in
Beating
the league.
LeBron.
But that man is
Right?
automatic. I feel like he missed more shots this game than last game. Honestly, the first game, game 1, I didn't even realize he missed a shot, if I'm honest. The second game, I was like, oh, he's human. But it was just like, he's very automatically, and he's a smart player. Like I said, he plays hard, like smart, not hard. In everything.
Yeah.
He can still be hard, but
he's
he does
the
it
old
in a
man's
smart
game.
way.
He is the old man's game. Like,
He's
and
like
I love
ABC.
it.
You
Do
know
what I
when
mean?
he's be doing like X, Y, and Z, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, let's just go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like,
I love
Fundamentals.
it. I love it. I can relate. Finally, an NBA player that I play like. You know, I've been
Ethical
waiting my whole life
hoops.
for this.
you need
I'm trying to be like that after my injury. I'm trying to be like, yo,
You need to be playing like Patsy.
Because
That's
I can't
Patsy's
be-
the person.
the reason why, do you get it? The reason why I probably got hurt, 'cause I was trying to go too fast.
Yeah.
20 seconds
Yep.
left, sit down. Where are you going? Trying to
Yeah.
sprint off like I'm young. I'm about to be smart. Watch me.
Yeah,
I'm about to watch
that's it.
all Jokic's games.
There you go.
But speaking of going too fast, I got this question for you, Shaquila. Seeing as you're a
Okay.
fan of LeBron James and not the Lakers. Now, the situation was this. It's a tied game, and there's, 16 seconds left on the clock, and there's a 5-second difference, shot clock and game clock. LeBron, a little push-off on KCP. He's now wide open at the top of the paint. And I've had my Instagram comments blowing up with LeBron fans being mad at me for saying this, right? But do you take that shot? Because a part of having an elite basketball IQ, and I'm not saying he doesn't have, because he clearly has one of the best basketball IQs we've ever seen. But in the moment, anything can happen. You have to manage the time and the score. You're on the road trying to steal a win against the reigning champions. This might be the only game you've got a chance to win in the series. That's a lot of time to leave on the clock
For a shot.
for a 3-point shot. And I understand he's hitting 40% of them wide open at the top of the key. Cool. You take that objectively is a good shot. But when you factor in the clock and the fact that the Nuggets are then going to have 16 seconds, and people say, well, Jamal only needed 5 seconds to get to the bucket. Well, it's a butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
If you take more time off the clock and you leave the
less
Nuggets
time
with
he
only
has,
5 seconds, then they've got to call a timeout, advance the ball.
Yeah.
And they might change the whole shot
They've only got
selection.
one timeout left. If you pressure the inbounds, they might have a 5-second count turnover. You go win the game again.
Like, play the game.
So,
I think I'm
was that the right
as
shot?
the best player. I think so, as a LeBron fan, but also as like he's the most experienced. He understands that they was up 20 points, and now this is it. So like he's like, okay, I've got to take this shot. I've got to do what I've got to do for my team. So that's the only way I can look at it. Like he took the right shot.
I think he could have counted in the time.
Yeah, I feel like if it's a wide open shot, you can take at least 2 more seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
At least.
At least counter in the time.
Do you know what I mean?
Like,
you
even
got to do
run
something.
the shot clock
Do you know what I
down.
mean? You got to do something because you're. I get it. You're not going to get an open shot again in that next 5. You said 5 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah,
You're
a
not-
5-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock.
You're not going to get another shot that open,
Yeah.
but you could get a
That's
shot
how I
open
think.
in 2 seconds.
And
Like,
you're
you could-
LeBron James.
Exactly.
But the playoffs is for the superstars. So like, really and truly, if you're the coach of the Lakers, this should be your responsibility to recognize this situation and say,
Do you think
even
coaches
before it gets to
tell
that point,
players to do things in those situations?
I don't think Darvin Ham tells them to do an awful
Anything.
lot. I think he likes to stand there with his hands in his pockets.
And smile.
So go on.
Like, I've watched the Lakers this season. LeBron will call the substitutions. LeBron will draw up the plays.
Yeah.
And I've seen
Player coach.
situations where, you know, the camera angles from like above. Darvin Ham's telling them stuff and they're not even
Dialed in.
tuned in to what he's saying. And
Yeah.
I'm just,
No,
LeBron was
eye
looking
contact,
off.
nothing, just everyone on the bench.
do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, okay, and we get it. Like, LeBron is an all-time great, but
Yeah.
this is why Eric Spoelstra was such a great coach when he had LeBron, is he wasn't afraid
to tell them
to make the call and say, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what being a great coach is all about. And the same with
Yeah.
Tyronn Lue to an extent. That's why I think he was better than David Blatt in Cleveland, is you have to be able to say, okay, this is the situation, but maybe I get it's a wide open shot.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. I'm gonna call this
But
time out.
counter in the game.
We're gonna run
Yeah,
1-4
yeah.
low, and LeBron,
Yeah.
you say you're the best player of all time. If that's a wide open shot, go get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And just take that time off the clock.
Or
Yeah.
take the drive and get the foul. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he does in those situations.
That's meant to.
That's what
his
I was.
game.
That's
Yeah,
his
yeah.
game. That's what I was the most
that's his bread
surprised
and
about.
butter.
But I
That's
think
like-
if my memory serves me correctly, he picked up his dribble after he's dropped KCP, right?
okay,
But that's
yeah.
why I'm saying call the timeout.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're leaving him in a situation where he
has
has
to
to shoot.
shoot.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if he doesn't shoot that, you know what everyone's going to say.
Yeah.
He was scared of taking that shot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
Or
I
smart.
understand why LeBron took that shot.
Yeah.
But personally, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to get killed in a press
Yeah.
conference after the game.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
guess what? I'm going to get killed in a press conference
Yeah,
anyway if
anyway.
we
Yeah,
lose.
yeah.
We touched on that last week about like how they feel to the players who are also grown men. But like I was saying about LeBron taking the shot, I feel like he should have taken the shot. You had the coach talking about the wrong things instead of like telling LeBron, okay, this is what we needed to do, or this is what you shouldn't have done. Because yes, as a player, like I don't want to make my head big, but the team I'm on now, I was the go-to player. I was the star player, blah, blah, blah. And when you're in the game,
It's not
feels
making your head
different
big. It's
from-
facts.
Gas yourself up, Shakira.
I think Shakira had a game that she had
Tried, like,
35
stop
points,
it, stop
35
it,
points
stop
and
it now.
25
If Shakira never got
rebounds.
injured, she'd have been MVP.
Yeah.
5
All right.
rebounds.
When you're in the
and
game, you feel different.
Putting up Wilt Chamberlain
5
numbers.
See, look at you, I'm
rebounds
leaving.
and 35 points. What sort of numbers are those? Do you know what I mean?
Fam, that's
Alright.
mad.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I think, didn't you say 16 of them were offensive? Yeah,
Yeah,
nah.
she-
Come on. Anyway,
17th. No, I'm just
Someone
joking.
took the shit, man.
as you were.
But yeah, I was just saying, like, you feel like, okay, I'm looking back on that game and I'm like, okay, I did that. But in the moment, I can say that I know how he was feeling, and he was like, okay, this is the right shot.
And he was
But-
carrying that fourth quarter too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that probably wasn't the best shot for him to take, but I feel like as the coach, he needed to tell his player, okay.
It's also coaching is so interesting. If I get really nerdy for a sec. So like second half, the Lakers are going to a lot of LeBron AD pick and rolls, right? And they're doing it so that Jamal Murray is the low man, right? So they're doing it on the side of the court where Jamal Murray is the low man with his shooter stationed in the corner. They go to that once, twice, it's working. So Mike Malone, the coach of the Nuggets, who's a fantastic coach, adjusts his defense. He says to his guys, and I don't know whether it was Mike Malone or whether it was Jokic himself, but they switched up the coverage. They went to Jokic on Rui instead of Jokic on AD. They changed Holiday into the help defender instead of Jamal so that the Lakers couldn't go back to that. And that's when they started to make their run back into the game. And it's those tiny moments of coaching that, okay, the Nuggets have countered what we're doing. What are we going to do to counter that? And then that way you don't give up a 20-point lead. Like, I love the playoffs because it's like a game of chess. Everything, we talk about adjustments all the time, but there's adjustments within the game. Everyone loves to talk about what's the adjustments between game 2 and game 3. There's adjustments happening every couple minutes on the court if you're paying attention to the game that you're seeing. And I just think that the Lakers, Darvin Ham, and the way that they go is just, what is your adjustment to what the Nuggets are doing? Because there's so many different situations where I'll see a play call from Denver and I'm just looking at it like, this is amazing. I'm just like, all right, cool. We've got Rui matched up with Jokic because it's a cross match from when we're coming back down. We're going to run a set to get Jokic the ball at the nail so that they can't bring a help defender because he's an elite passer. And if you're at the nail, you can't bring a help defender. And we're just going to let Jokic go to work.
Yeah.
And it's
you've got to do it play by play.
And it's like in game 1, Michael Porter Jr., he was awful to start game 1, right? His brother's just gone jail. His other brother's banned from the NBA. He can't get a shot. So what does Mike Malone do in the first quarter? Calls a timeout and draws up a play to get Michael Porter Jr. an open 3 because he knows if I get Michael Porter Jr. shots, he's going to start rebounding. He's going to start defending. He's going to start moving the ball.
That's a coach.
And in game 1, you saw that in the first half. The Lakers started off hot again. Michael Porter Jr. got a couple offensive rebounds, made the extra pass a couple times, and that's what brought them back into it. And that is coaching on a different level. And obviously, LeBron's got great basketball IQ. He can't do everything. He can't be the coach and the player. Do you know what I mean? Like, only Bill Russell can do that.
It's insane. So what are you saying? Sweep or?
I think the Lakers could still win.
They can get
You're
one.
confident.
Because do you know why? The Nuggets have now beaten the Lakers 10 times in a row, right?
It's hard to keep beating a team.
This is what I'm saying. You can get comfortable in, like, we've beaten these guys 10 times straight over the last 3 seasons. They can't beat us. It's easy. Go on the road. You're in LA. You're a little bit more relaxed.
The weather's good.
Lakers got their home cooking going. And the Lakers, bear in mind how much harder they're going to play because they've been whooped 10 straight times.
Yeah, you don't.
So I'm like,
as a man, as a player,
this is what I'm saying. Like, do I see them losing 12 straight games? Like, that's
that would be
crazy.
insane.
Every
That would be
inch
crazy.
of his crown has been broken by one of those games.
But it's like, what can you do? You're up 20, you still lose. And you have games where, like, the role players on the Nuggets aren't hitting their threes, or Jamal Murray is awful the whole game. And this goes to, like, we're talking about LeBron's basketball IQ and Mike Malone, but Jokic, if you watch the fourth quarter, made a point to get the ball in Jamal Murray's hands and say, go to work. I don't care if you're 1 from 12 or whatever he was shooting at the time. Go to work because you know you're going to need him later in the game. Because they're going to throw a double at you if the game's on the line. You saw like how much attention he got. So Jamal Murray shot where he got the switch. They're so worried about who's switching on to Jokic.
They forgot.
They didn't forget about him, but then you're just left with a less favourable matchup with a big trying to guard a small, and then he can go into his bag and do what he does. And credit to Jamal sticking with him, but Jokic was saying, keep going. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're cold. We're down 20 and you're cold. I don't care. Keep going. And that is team chemistry on a whole nother level. Not a lot of teams. If you're telling me that Spencer Dinwiddie is 1 for 12 and LeBron's going to say to him, keep going, we're down 20.
No
you know
way.
what I'm saying?
No way.
Like,
It's a trust.
No way.
You got to trust your players, trust each other in the game. And that's something, like, if Jokic tells you to do something, you do it. Do you know what I mean?
And I feel like that team as well, like, they went from, I mean, even last year, we saw, we said it all the way through the season that it was like, oh, this is not the team that the NBA really want to win. And they knew that as well. And they stuck together and got through it. So, yeah, they're definitely on their team chemistry.
Through Jamal's injury and stuff, he deserves
And they
it.
are the defending champions. So
They've not lost.
They're not easy to beat.
They've not lost a game at home where their starting 5 is healthy and they closed the game with that same starting 5 since they traded for Aaron Gordon.
Do you think they'll go back to back?
Yeah, I've been saying it since the second they won last year. I don't see a way, unless you have a series in which like Jokic is in foul trouble in like 4 of the 7 games. I don't see a way in which you can beat them because when you look at their team, okay, Jokic, if you give him single coverage, there's no defenders in the NBA that can guard him, right?
him.
There's no,
Literally,
like when Shaq was dominating the NBA, Shaquille O'Neal, not Shaq over here, but when Shaq was dominating the NBA, teams would sign bigs. Like Scott Perry said on our show, he was part of the front office of the Pistons that won that championship against the Lakers in 2004. They were signing bigs in the summer because they knew if they made it to the finals in June the next year, they're going to face Shaq, right? So they're loading up on bigs that can be in there taking... NBA teams don't have bigs like that anymore, right? You're looking at like, who else is there? Even like defensive player of the year, if it's Rudy Gobert, Jokic destroys him almost every time they play, right? If you give him one-on-one coverage. So you can't guard Jokic one-on-one. You can't double him because if you double him, he's going to find the right pass. And then you look at the rest of the team. KCP, proven NBA champion, can knock down big shots. Michael Porter Jr., we forget that Michael Porter Jr. coming out of high school was the best player in the country. And if it wasn't for his back injury, he'd be a superstar in the NBA himself right now. And Denver have managed to get him to buy into his role. And like the three that he hit down the stretch in the fourth quarter there is a broken possession. Jokic has lost control of the ball. It's kind of gone a little bit everywhere. And he hits that dagger. He was a huge part of it. Michael Porter Jr. is there. Aaron Gordon, that high-low action that they have, where if Jokic is at the elbow, Aaron Gordon's just going to go baseline and catch a lob. How are you stopping this? And then Jamal Murray, who's never been an all-star, but in the NBA playoffs, how many point guards can you tell me in the NBA right now you would take ahead of Jamal Murray in the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, I can pick one. Because I feel like he is so... I think also the fact that he's been so slept on and that he's quiet. Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys know I respect a quiet player. So someone that can show up game after game after game with people expecting that he's never going to. Yeah, I don't think there's another player you can take him.
No, I agree.
Oh, you think he's the best point guard?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
In playoffs.
In the playoffs? Who do you have? Because Steph's not in the playoffs no more.
Yeah, no.
So.
I wasn't going to say... Let me think. Let me land. Just give me a second.
I'm going through all the teams.
Yeah, I need to think. Like, I don't.
You're not picking anyone in Celtics?
Yeah. Not ahead of Jamal Murray. I think the point guard position, like.
But it's also the other thing though that we have to take into account. Okay, just like a few months ago, everyone was telling me, "Oh, Denver aren't going to win. They've lost their depth. They don't have Bruce Brown. They don't have Jeff Green." What is Bruce Brown doing? Because ever since he stopped playing with Jokic, I've not seen this man.
That is true.
And I said to people in the summer, I'm not worried about losing Bruce Brown because Bruce Brown
You said that like a supporter. You said that like a supporter. I'm not worried about losing.
I'm not.
You
No.
wear
In
the
my
wrong
prediction.
team? Oh,
In my
okay.
prediction.
Like
right?
for that team, it's
Do you know
like
what I mean?
whatever.
I'm just
In
making
my
sure.
job, I have to separate my
Yeah.
personal bias from what
Yeah.
I
We'll get onto
actually
your
think,
personal
right?
bias.
So I would say I'm not worried about that because
Yeah.
the reason why he looks so amazing, and credit to him
It's
on the
because he's
defensive
with-
end, I
yeah.
can't take
Good
anything
system.
away, but on offense,
Yeah.
He's with.
look at when he was in Brooklyn. He wasn't giving you offense like that.
Yeah.
Why? Because they weren't making plays like that for him. They just had him
Yeah.
stashed at the dunker spot, trying to play power forward. So now they're like, oh, we've lost. I'm like, listen, that's a role player. If they can find guys to play that role and hit open shots, they're going to be all right. So we have to factor in as well, though, playing with Jokic for Jamal Murray. Because, number one, Jokic is absolutely huge. And screen setting is massively underrated in basketball. No one really talks about this. I watch hundreds and hundreds of NBA games. The amount of actual proper screens I see being set, it disturbs me, right? I'm like, guys, just set a screen. Like, first of all, the defense just loves to switch anyway, but guys don't set proper screens. But Jokic is just so big.
He has no choice.
Yeah.
He might not even be great at set screens, but you just can't run around him, right? He's just huge.
No way.
So, like, that frees up Jamal a lot. And then, obviously, playing with Jokic and his passing ability and the amount of attention he commands from, because he can score from all three levels. He's not a big who can only score in the paint. He commands attention from everywhere. That obviously helps Jamal Murray. So, it's tough to say we'll take him over anyone until we see him elsewhere. But he's definitely one of the best in the NBA when it comes to playoff basketball.
Yeah.
Should we do Celtics?
Yeah, go for it.
Chilling.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so
You
do you want us...
You guys talk to me about the Celtics. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
So
I don't business about.
I guess the main headline is, are they going to choke? That's the question, because I feel like
Yes.
that is always the question.
Okay.
No one's taken away from the fact that you guys are an amazing team.
Okay.
You guys have dominated. We know you've dominated, but are you going to choke?
I love this question. When have the Celtics choked?
Last year.
Last year, you mean when they were going to be the first team in NBA history to come back from 3-0 down and Jason Tatum turned his ankle in Game 7?
So, yeah.
So you're
if Jason Tatum doesn't turn his ankle in that game 7,
can we go?
If Jason Tatum doesn't turn his ankle,
let's
they're
ask
the
one
first team
question.
to come back from 3-0 down, and they take that confidence to the NBA Finals
Okay, let's ask
for the
one
second
question.
straight year.
Let's ask one question though. Fair enough, we give you the crown of first team to come, but why did you get yourself into that position? Is that not choking? You being in that position before he even rolled his ankle?
Well, no, choking implies failing at the end, right? So choking would be being up 3-0 and letting the opposition team win 3 games in a row and force a game 7. That would be by definition choking.
But wouldn't
or getting
putting
swept
yourself
or
in that
choking.
situation.
Yeah,
That's
like
not choke.
if you are,
But you
if
shouldn't
you're
be
the
in
best
that
team in the
A
league.
choke is when you can't score in the fourth quarter. A choke is not when you can't score in the first 3 and you have a great fourth quarter. By definition.
If you are the best team in the league, should it have gotten to a game 6? Like, as in, like, should we have been in the position
Well, they
of
weren't
a game
the first
6?
seed last
Yeah, they
year.
weren't.
The first seed went out in the first round.
Okay, but should you? I
But
guess
should you-
no,
but no,
because
no,
now,
no,
because
no,
now you're trying
I
to do
understand
it
what you're
based on
saying,
like
but it's
the
just like,
question is still valid.
Like,
you know what I
should
mean?
you have been in that situation last year?
That it should have cost the game 7. Like it
Yeah.
should. It required him
here's
to
the
roll
thing. The NBA right now is a math game. Okay, if you're shooting threes at a percentage level that has never been seen by your team ever before, you are gonna win the game. Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus probably will never shoot like that again in their lives because I've never seen them shoot like that before, and I've never seen them shoot like that since. Right? They had a 3-game stretch where they shot the lights out of the basketball. It wasn't like Jimmy
Steph
Butler
Curry.
came in and scored 40 3 times in a row, was it?
No.
They were just hitting shots. And as a defense, you have to give up something, right?
Yeah.
And if we're settling for Max Strus shooting threes and Gabe Vincent, you're going to live with the result, and you have to live with the result. So it's like, okay, they were on fire for 3 straight games.
And there's nothing you can do about
like
that.
you just have sometimes you just like the Lakers just have to live with the fact that Nikola Jokic is just going to go out there and get 30, 20, and 10.
But
you
then-
just have to deal with
It's
it.
just
But
that
we
you've gotta
literally
know
just
that Caitlin
talked
Clark's
about
gonna shoot.
adjustments. So like, as in, we just talked
Okay, so
about,
let me ask you this: if you're the coach, right? What you have to give up something.
yeah.
What would you rather give up? Jimmy Butler getting cooking, or the role players shooting shots from the outside?
But then if the role players have, I think if you've gotten to the 3rd game and the role players are shooting the lights out of the basketball, you need to find a happy medium.
But then they stopped shooting the lights out of
In the-
basketball
the
because the
last
Celtics
3
won 3
games.
straight games.
We
So
made
it
the
worked.
adjustments in the playoffs.
So it worked. And that's why
I
I'm
get what you're
saying,
saying.
if Tatum doesn't turn his ankle, they win that game 7. The Celtics have gone back-to-back finals, and they've gone in with the confidence of winning a 7-game series for the second time in a row. Right? And then we could live in a world right now where the Celtics are the defending champions. And everyone's asking me, are the Nuggets
Are we
going to
gonna
choke
go
in the
back
finals
to
again?
back?
You know what I'm saying? It's just like that
It's the
moment.
mockery of the question.
It's that one moment. So everyone says the Celtics choked. Okay. Jason Tatum turned his ankle. He was playing on one leg.
I
the
mean,
whole
but
game.
you could have taped it. There's literally a story. No, but there's literally a
Mic
story
drop.
of a player.
Paige, I'm going to call the Celtics medical stuff right now. Tell them to give you a job.
No, but there's literally there was
Tape
literally a
it up,
player in
superstar.
That is hilarious. Could have taped it.
bro. Like there's literally a story of like college. In order for this, I can't even remember, but someone had to like tape it where you can't even feel it and take paracetamol where they win the championship. I can't even think of the player,
But
but
they-
there's
But we
literally a
don't
story.
win
They-
the championship.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
need
'cause
to
you still
spend
got
real
more
money.
games.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah,
7 more
but
games
this
to
is what he
play.
had to do from March Madness onwards
yeah.
to win. So it's
But
like,
was
if
he
you-
being asked to carry the same load of Jason Tatum? Was he playing at the same intensity of a 48-minute NBA game? Was he being guarded by NBA defenders? It's
I
completely
hear that,
different.
but he still could have taped it.
And then
I like that thing.
I need that tape.
Do you know how many times like you get told as an athlete, can you walk? Okay, go play. Like
I think
nah.
it's just so different with the NBA. Like any injury, they're okay. You're out for 2 weeks. You're out for 3 weeks. What happened with Kobe when he tore his Achilles? He said to the trainer, "Oh, can't I just tape it?" No, it doesn't work like that.
Yep. And you also got to think about like he's a young star player playing with that. You know, it could have made it worse, whatever. But then the other thing people talk about with the Celtics is they choked the finals against the greatest shooter of all time and the best dynasty we've seen since the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, like
yeah.
you've got a 24-year-old kid in the NBA Finals against
Yeah.
Steph Curry. What are you expecting to happen? The fact that
The
they were
first
even
finals
in,
they
the
were
fact
in.
that they were even in a position to be
Yeah.
up 2-1 should be commended. The fact that they went
Yeah.
into Golden State in game 1 and won on the road
Yeah.
should be commended rather than they choked the finals. It's the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
We saw Steph put on one of the best shooting. Everyone always says
plays
to me like,
ever.
because I was there, they're like, "Oh Mo, you must be devastated." Bro, in 50 years' time, I can say that I witnessed the greatest shooter of all time have one of his greatest performances ever.
Yeah.
Tatum and these guys are going to have more chances to win.
Yeah.
That was historic what we
Yeah.
witnessed. So it's like, okay, everyone thinks the Celtics have choked. No. When did LeBron win his first championship? When did Michael win his first championship? When did Giannis win his first championship? Tatum isn't even at that age yet.
yeah.
And yet everyone's putting it. He's the same age as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
But with Shai, we're talking
Same
about,
age as me.
he's so young. You know what
What am I doing? I'm here.
But it's like, why have we got the expectation on Tatum and no one
Yeah.
else? Because he's been so good. Because he's been to the conference finals so many times. He's been to the NBA finals. If there was any other player on a different team that was a resident in the
Yeah.
conference finals year after year after year,
Everyone would praise
they'd be
him
like,
for
oh my
it.
God. If Anthony Edwards was in the conference finals for 4 straight years and gets to the
Michael
NBA finals,
Jordan.
this is Michael Jordan's son.
Okay.
But because he's on the
I
Boston
mean, I still
Celtics,
think he's Michael Jordan's son.
I hear it.
it's scary.
Yeah,
how similar
that's
they are.
what I mean. I still
Yeah,
think
yeah,
there's a
But
possibility.
you see what I'm saying? So now it's like, oh, the Celtics going to choke again. Well, they've not choked. Now,
I hear it.
now
I'll take it. Narrative change.
If Jason Tatum decided that he wanted to leave in free agency, called up 2 other All-Stars and formed a super team, then went to the finals and got guarded by JJ Barea and lost, that's what I'd call a choke.
Choke.
I don't know why you decided to argue with him. Did you not hear that he said that he's a
I
lawyer?
was just.
I mean, so am I. So am I.
I listen, but he said he likes to
saw
lie, and
it.
this, I never try and argue with Mo. I'm just like,
To be honest, it was the worst team to argue about as well. Man,
know what I
come
mean?
here.
Yeah.
He's
wearing
he's
his
in
house
black,
kit
white,
out,
and green. Do you know what I mean? He was
I'ma
he was
tell you this.
also ready for the question because bearing in mind that this whole section
sitting up,
was supposed to be exactly. He sat up. He said, "I'm a set up." But this whole section was
I love
supposed to
this
be you
question.
going through the teams. Meanwhile, when it got to Celtics, he said, "What have you got for me?" He wanted us. He put us in the. You put me in the hot seat already.
So I'll tell you this: I do my show with a man who won 3 NBA championships, went and worked in the front office of an NBA team, and then became an agent and secured one of the biggest deals we've ever seen in sneaker history, right? For Derrick Rose and some of the biggest contracts in the NBA at the time. Now think about the negotiations he had to do to get those contracts. And this is a man who says, "Mo, I can't argue with you about basketball. How do you do this?" This is
But I
what
don't even
do.
try. I'm just like, you
That's
know
a
what?
lot of hours of watching basketball.
Yeah,
But
it's true.
it's because I just say what I see.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have a bias. I'm just,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
But that's what's so great. That you don't have a bias. Like, you can appreciate greatness from different teams and be like, okay, it is what it is. Whereas we might be a bit biased.
I'm
over
like,
here.
Celtics are winning.
Yeah,
Oh.
Is that really biased or is that really just the truth? We don't know yet. so
I
we'll
think the
see.
Nuggets are winning it all.
I
But
think the Nuggets.
I think
also-
they're
I just
But I
think,
think it's gonna be a
when
great
it comes
final.
to talking sports, it's like you have to give credit. Now, a lot of fans get annoyed at me because if a player has a bad game or does
Yeah.
something bad, I will say it. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, you hate this guy, you're a hater.
Yeah.
Like Paul George in the bubble, right? Oh, Mo, you're a Paul George hater. Well, no, because if he hit that shot, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to say that, would I?
Yeah.
So, like Rudy Gobert, we were talking about it on my show this morning. He might have been the best player on the court last
Yeah.
night for the Timberwolves, right?
Yeah,
he was
absolutely.
guarding KD, he was guarding Booker, he was guarding. He couldn't do that 5 years ago.
No.
When I was getting onto him about not being able to
Yeah.
guard the perimeter. And everyone, oh, Mo hates Gobert. But now he's doing it. Well done. This is what we're analysing the game. I don't have an agenda. And this is the thing, I'm going to go on a little rant here. This is the thing that makes me sick in sports media, right? Media people have friends or they really want an interview with this player or they're close with someone who works for this team and their sources. Oh, because I get leaked trade information about this team, I'm only
Yeah.
going to say good things
Yeah.
about this team. I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
I'm me. I can't be bought. It's none of that, right? Here's what I say. I call it like I see it. And if you don't do that, then I don't really want to listen to you. So
Yeah.
No
Honesty.
agendas over there.
Yeah, honesty. I like it.
That's it. Well, we shall see if Celtics take it home.
Wait, what do you think of the Clippers, though?
Clippers are interesting because it all hinges on Kawhi Leonard's health, right?
Yeah.
So, I
But
don't.
James Harden in particular, compared to game
He
one
had
to
a-
game two.
Yeah, it was
I
two
thought-
different.
Bro.
This is James
It was like
Harden.
old
Harden
school
too.
James Harden game one, which I loved. And then game...
2018 Harden. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
James, it's addition by subtraction. When you subtract Kawhi from the lineup, you add James Harden as we know James
Yeah.
Harden. James Harden is not a guy that plays with other superstars like
Yeah.
that. His whole thing in Houston was him. They traded even all,
Yeah.
not just all the stars, they traded all the bigs. And it was just him and Russell Westbrook running the show.
Yeah.
So it's like James Harden, when he says I'm the system, I believe him now.
Yeah, same.
You
That's-
are the
that's his
system,
game, yeah.
but your system isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Now, like, even remember last
not
year with Philly, he came out one game one, he had a great, but then when Embiid comes back in the lineup,
Doesn't work.
now it's not
The
working the
dynamics are
same way.
different.
But also, the other thing I have to point out is that Clippers series, it will probably come down to who's the best player on the court. And that's why I say it hinges on Kawhi's health. Because, like you saw last night, it was close all the way down to the wire. I picked the Mavs in 7 before this series began. Because it's just going to come down to who's Kawhi or Luka Doncic. I don't think Paul George can reach Luka Doncic's level. And I think that also Daniel Gafford's injury is going to be a factor. And we're going to see that. But, you know, between those teams, there's not a lot that separates them. But also, you got to factor in, like, the Clippers couldn't make shots last night, but the Mavs couldn't make shots in game 1. That's why I feel like it's going to be a little bit back and forth, and it could be a long series. But, you know, it's interesting to me because I just don't see anyone beating the Nuggets because you've got Zubac, who might be able to guard Jokic or try and guard Jokic. Okay, when he gets into foul trouble, you're telling me Mason Plumlee's going to guard Nikola Jokic. Mason Plumlee's on the court for 2 minutes and Luka getting 10 pick and roll.
They just got such a great system. Like, Lakers, they have to be damn near perfect. Their margin of error is like...
They have to be perfect, and the Nuggets have to be bad at the same time.
It has to work like that or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Oh, that's it. Well, I mean, while we're speaking of Jokic, you guys saw the Despicable Me.
Greatest outfit ever.
Greatest outfit ever.
I think he's so cute.
Yeah, and I feel like obviously everyone's always talking about the guy. I don't know if you saw the meme. I sent it in the group chat about LeBron talking to younger LeBron, saying that there's a guy called Jokic. You need to make sure he doesn't become a somebody. But I feel like the thing with him, everyone has talked about how. Oh no, I think. It even said you need to make sure that his love for horses, like basically outweighs everything. And it's like everyone's made this guy seem like he doesn't want to be there, and so on and so forth. So seeing him do an advert for the NBA, so we know that it was probably something he had to do,
attention.
but also for Despicable Me 4, that was great. It was
10 out of 10
nice.
branding as well.
Yeah.
Because that was what I love about that is that was organic because he actually wore that outfit.
Yeah.
It became a meme.
Yeah.
And then the makers of that film went to the NBA and said, can we do this? And whoever pitched that idea, hats off to them because they're really tapped in.
Yeah. And also for him and however they managed to get him to do that as well, because I feel like that's not him. Like everything he says is about how he wants to be someone that's forgotten.
How do you know though? Like in the sense of like, has he ever been asked that before? Maybe it's
like, maybe.
But he's got a daughter, so maybe she loves the movies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
That's a great way to angle it. By the way, your daughter.
Do you know what I loved, right? In the interview that he did, he goes, I love Gru, he's a great guy. What do you mean he's a great guy? Like, you've gone for beers with Gru. I've never seen the movie. I don't know what his character is, but like, he's a cartoon, bro.
Yeah.
How is he? That's like me saying, I love Shrek. Shrek's a great guy. We went out last night till 4 a.m. What do you mean he's a great guy?
Yeah, he's not watched the show. That's what that means when he said that. He's not watched it. Or he just sat there with his daughter being like...
It's like when they asked LeBron, who's your favourite Liverpool player?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, and he chooses...
Man, we scored a great goal in the match.
It's like
LeBron needs to get better because...
Bro, he's got too many videos.
With LeBron for me. I know he's my favourite, but still. He's always on the first page. What's going on? What's happening?
Oh, his fans are going to be so angry in the comments.
Like, it's like,
I know.
It makes no sense to me. This man can lie and believe his own lie.
And that's my favourite saying.
Yes.
That's my favourite saying.
Like, he really believes that
No one asked you to speak.
No, do you guys want to know the funniest thing I've seen, right? You know his show, The Shop?
Yeah.
They had Ice Spice on the show, right?
I saw that.
But watch the episode, but just watch her face while he's talking. She has no idea what's going on. She just sat there like, what? He's like, man, I can't believe I never won Defensive Player of the Year. She just sat there just like,
why am I here?
You thought I was feeling you?
Bless her. She's like, why am I asking to be here?
When I saw the little commercial of her being on it, I was like, why is she there?
Someone said it looked like a Fortnite lobby.
Honestly, it was the most randomest
random
lineup
characters
ever.
Right, okay, we should probably talk about Caitlin Clark because she just got offered an 8.
The
bag.
Crazy.
So guys, if you don't know, it is an 8-figure salary. How much are we saying? How much do you guys think it is? If you haven't heard it already, you guys have to guess the number.
I've heard it.
You've heard it.
We heard it, yeah.
Everyone's heard it.
I think everyone's heard it.
28 million.
28 mil. 8-year contract, but 28 mil.
That is crazy.
That is crazy. Would you take an
And a shoe deal. And a shoe deal.
And a shoe
Don't
deal.
forget the shoe deal.
Meanwhile,
Would I take it?
Meanwhile,
Asia, we're still waiting. We've been saying this, but yeah.
Do you know what I love about Asia? How she was my favourite player and everyone just loves her. You know what I mean? Everyone's now picking up like, Asia's actually the girl. Like, that's a G still. Like,
I'm excited to see her play.
Cold.
Yeah.
I don't know why. This has to be more internal reasons why. Because
do you think Asia Wilson would sell units of shoes purely from because here's my thing, right? We know how great she is.
Yeah.
But if you go on the street and ask a random person, do they know about her? They don't really know. But
So
for me, I can't speak to the other people they're giving shoe deals to. But because people were debating Caitlin Clark, and random people know Caitlin Clark who aren't even basketball
But
fans.
I understand that. But I guess Nike didn't. Well, from what we understand, we don't know if Nike were planning this shoe deal from the very beginning.
This has been planned for, like, I'll tell you this,
Since
right?
the NIL.
Wembenyama's shoe deal has been planned before.
Yeah, 'cause he was
So executives from other brands were coming to me like, Mo, can you help us sign Wembenyama? And I was like, you're like 4 years too late.
I feel like when you think about marketing, there's two places, right? There's the person that's already marketable, and there's the person you need to market. And actually, they pitched their horse on the fact that Asia was someone that they needed to market, and they haven't done their job. So I think the only reason that Caitlin Clark comes into a conversation as a comparison is because we're seeing her get what we expected Asia to get. But realistically, we know they're two separate pools. But marketing are still not doing their job.
Also this though, Asia Wilson is a big.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark is a guard.
Bigs don't usually get shoe deals.
But look at the NBA right now, right? Jokic is he could win another MVP and another Finals MVP, and he could win another championship, right? So he's a, what is it, 3-time MVP? He could end up being 4 or 5-time
Finals MVP.
But what brand of shoes does Jokic wear? Nike wouldn't give him a signature shoe, and now he's with a brand that I don't even know the name of. Joel Embiid, MVP of the league, another
Skechers,
big,
right?
wears Skechers.
Yeah.
Bigs don't really get shoe deals.
But do you feel
hold
like
on.
it's the same? Go on.
I can't compare Caitlyn to Asia in a sense of, like, I think it's two separate situations. Like, Caitlyn's story is Caitlyn's story, respect it. Asia's story is just a bit construed in a sense of, I hear what Mo's saying. It's like bigs, X, Y, and Z. She don't wear big shoes. She ain't wearing like LeBron.
None of the
That's
bigs,
why
they don't make big shoes.
Okay, let me
though.
land. So then now it's like, Sabrina's, right? Cold shoe. It's a cold Sabrina ones and everything. There was a boy that I was talking to, like a friend, by the way. I ain't gonna no. Like, but he's scrolling through the Nike. He was like, "Wow, like, who's Sabrina and Esco?" I was like, "What?" He was like, "No, she got cold shoes. I might just buy them." People just like it because of the visual. Do you know what I mean? People who don't know these players might just be like, "Oh, I might just buy her shoe because they look nice." So I feel like if they do their job right, given that Asia's got swag to herself, also she's marketable in a sense that she knows how to dress, and
It's
which
exactly
is
what I said.
relatable to players today. So it's like, this is where they should have gone, and that's why I feel like
Marketing
it's
didn't do their
good.
job.
Like,
That's what
they could have done a better job.
But
because
I love Asia Wilson. I would love her to have a shoe, right? And you see her influence, even wearing the one-legged sleeve, and how many young hoopers wear that now, right?
Yeah.
Now she's amazing.
And the black Air Forces,
But-
which I actually started. But
Paige started that one.
Oh, Paige have a shoe deal too. But purely from a business perspective, right? They have given her colorways of the Cosmic Unity. If those didn't sell well, it's hard to pitch that in a business meeting. So say if I work for Nike and I really want Asia Wilson to get a shoe, and I'm going into this meeting with my bosses to pitch that she should have a signature shoe. If those, I don't know what those units sold, but if those units didn't perform well, because you see a lot of the times, right? Like players, even in the NBA, I can't speak too much to the women's marketing of shoes, but in the NBA, a lot of the times, what brands do is they do PEs. So they're going to do... So before Tatum got his...
I got them.
Yeah,
Jordan.
but before he got his signature with Jordan,
Yeah.
he was getting PE colorways of the Jordan models in the line, Jordan 35, Jordan 36. And they used that to test what the audience, what the consumer base is feeling. Because you see, like, De'Aaron Fox got a PE of the GT cuts, I believe. But clearly they didn't sell well enough for him to get a signature shoe. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot more that goes into it rather than just people sitting in a room, oh, I want her to have a shoe and I don't want her to have a shoe.
And
I
I
get
get
that.
Like, there's more to
and
it.
I get that and I hear that, but then, and that's why I said, like, I'm not trying to, when we're putting them in the brackets, like, you're right, they've got two different stories. One that came in marketable, whereas one that you have to market, right? But I feel like you have to, if you pitch that you're gonna market, you got to do the work, and you got to do the work properly. Because how did we get to a stage where Sabrina has a signature shoe, and like you said, people that don't know her are buying them? If it wasn't all of the decisions that were made before, the colorways that you were going to pitch, because I don't think that it was because Sabrina's colorways were fire that she got a signature shoe. I think it's because they knew.
She did go to
I'll
a
say
Nike
this.
school, Oregon.
Yep, valid.
That
But
is-
I'll say this, though.
True.
What did Steph Curry have to do to get a signature shoe?
Sign with
Nike told him, we're not
Yeah.
giving you a signature.
Under Armour.
So he left. Like, I guarantee
Stewart.
there are other brands out there that will give Asia a signature
why didn't they
shoe.
want to give him a shoe?
What, Steph Curry? At the time, he was injured all of the time.
Oh, okay.
So, like, everyone knew he was good, but he was injured a lot. And then they weren't really that focused on keeping him on the roster. So that slipped through there, and they probably regret it to this day, right? But I'm looking at it like, I don't think it's that Asia Wilson can't have a signature. I just think if that brand's not willing to give you it, then there will be, because you are talented, you're influenced on and off the court, you're accomplished.
Yeah.
There will be someone else who will offer you
Because
that.
Nike weren't giving Brianna Stewart a shoe, and she went to Puma, and now she's
True.
got a signature shoe there. So it's
This is what,
what you write in your
This is what I'm saying. This is why
well.
John Wall went to Reebok from Adidas as well, because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you're not going to give me
Reebok could be a shout.
Well, they were giving him a
Considering
She
signature.
can go to
That's a
Jumpman
shout.
and be the first woman
It's
with
true.
a signature shoe.
It's true.
Yeah, but
Reebok
even,
will take her.
even like John Wall,
Definitely.
it wasn't
Yeah.
even that they weren't giving him a signature. They just weren't giving him enough money that he
Yeah.
wanted for a signature, because he wanted James Harden money, and he said, all right, cool, I'm going to go wear other shoes. So it's just like, from a business perspective, it's like Nike's not the only shoe company. And if you
100%.
feel like that's what you want, because
Yeah.
she might be happier being with Nike and being a Nike athlete and not having a signature shoe than she would be with another brand. You don't know what goes on behind
And
the
yeah,
scenes.
Nike's very tight. We already
Because-
know this. Nike can be very tight. Oh, okay, well,
I can't co-sign that.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant like in a sense of like when I do a Nike campaign compared to an Adidas campaign, I do less with Adidas but get paid more. I do a whole week with Nike and get paid. They're very tight with where they give their money and what they want it for. So I can I understand their business because they don't have to do it. Either way, they're gonna keep.
And I think about it like this
generating.
though, in other sports, because obviously in basketball,
Yeah.
we are under the assumption that so many players get signatures, so many NBA players get signatures. But when you look at other sports, how many tennis players do Nike have on their roster? Or did they just go all in on Serena Williams? And like they've got a few others, don't get me wrong, they've got a
Yeah.
couple others, but most of their tennis marketing, most of their golf marketing was Tiger Woods. Most of their tennis marketing was Serena Williams. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like they don't need to, and to your point, Paige, about spending as much money on different campaigns. They are so established
That they don't
Yeah,
need to,
they don't,
yeah.
like,
yeah.
the other brands are playing catch up,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
They've already been there.
Yeah.
And, you know-
I think the only thing I would say is that I hear it, but then you've also seen them do the work behind
Yeah.
people. That's what I think. That's why it hurts. Like, it's a little
I do
bit
feel like she does deserve
Yeah.
it and they missed the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Like, I think-
no,
I
I'm
think-
not
yeah.
disagreeing with
But
that at all.
because
Yeah.
with Caitlin Clark, I always see, you know, Taylor Swift. Like sometimes I look at Taylor Swift and I'm like, who's listening to her music, or like who's buying all these
Who is
albums?
listening
Wait. Stop. I got to stop you right there.
The Swift.
I don't know
There
about
will be
you.
no Taylor Swift slander.
No, but I
I'm
know.
afraid. I am afraid. I've seen what they can do. They have powers. The Swifties in number. I'm not messing with you. Swifties is
I
nothing but
agree,
love.
but,
it is a really good comparison.
I feel like
though,
the
yeah.
Caitlin Clark market is like the all-American market that
Yeah.
they're targeting her for.
Yeah.
Like Taylor Swift,
Well, I think
And
this.
big numbers.
I want to see Angel Reese and her signature shoe.
Yeah.
And I
We've
want to
got-
see
it's coming.
how many people come out and you actually see them rocking that. Because I think, from a marketing perspective, I think it's cooler to wear an Angel Reese shoe
Yeah. Same.
than it would be to wear a Kate. That's just me personally. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if you're telling me there's an Angel Reese shoe and there's a Caitlin Clark shoe,
I
then-
would want to wear Angel Reese.
do you
but
see what I'm saying?
If it don't feel right on my feet, that's coming off. I'm not gonna-
That
You can see
Reebok
Angel
chunk.
Reese's like Michael Jordan's, like how we walk around in them.
Yeah,
today.
that's
You
what I'm
see
saying.
Angel
Like,
Reese.
Casual.
Like a
people
shoe
walk
like
around
that.
in AI
Could have done
questions.
it. Could have done
like
it with
casual
Asia.
wear.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a pair
Yeah.
actually.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, lots to say, and like, I guess we should probably wrap up by saying that this is not always everything against Caitlin Clark, because I feel like every time, like,
We
love her.
we
Yeah.
love her, we
Yeah,
love
I love
her.
her.
I think it
She's
is
done a
just
lot
the
for the
case.
game.
She's
Yeah.
done a lot for the game, and we see that. I think it's always the case that we're just trying to be like, make it make sense.
Yeah.
That's
Make
the
it
thing.
fair.
Make it fair. Make it make sense. That's the only thing I would say.
The offers for Caitlin Clark, right?
Yeah.
Nike, 8 years, 28 million. Under Armour, 4 years, 16 million. Adidas, 4 years, 6 million. Puma
Yeah.
walked away from the table when they were told it starts at 3 million a year.
We're like, buy that.
Yeah.
Done.
Like they thought they could get like Caitlin Clark for 1 million.
Hey,
with-
Puma is like, when I walk in the club and I see the price of bottles, yeah, I'm going, I'll see you guys. Bless. Yeah, I got an early one tomorrow, boys.
I'm just gonna get one cocktail, then I'm gonna do.
Nah, you got you, man, yeah?
You keep
That's
it
all
well.
you. Nah, just check the train times. My train's
Do you know
cancelled, I
what I
gotta go.
Gotta go back.
Oh, the last train.
And on that, guys, we're gonna call it. Guys, that has been an amazing episode,
Yeah.
but mostly, Mo, thank you so much.
A
for your
lot of
insights.
insights.
Thank you.
Thank
Loved it.
I appreciate
I
it.
feel like I
Also-
got educated at the same
Honestly,
time.
I'm sitting here like, raw.
I don't know why I don't want to argue with Mo. There's no point. You just gotta
Yeah,
listen to him.
I've learned. Don't worry, we'll do a different debate. That's not basketball. Maybe I'll win. Maybe my law degree will come in handy.
Well, BJ tried to debate Drake and Kendrick with me as well. That didn't go
that didn't go
too
down
well.
too well. Okay.
I'm not even gonna get into
Okay.
that.
So,
I-
that's a
I
whole
want to say
different
though,
debate.
I want to say shout out to you guys for the work that you guys are doing. A real inspiration to a lot of people out there and the whole team behind the scenes because people don't
Yeah.
realize there's a lot of people behind the
Yes.
cameras that
Yeah.
made this all possible. So big up to the whole Morden Ball team.
Yeah, yeah.
What you're
House of
doing,
Nayside.
setting a path,
Oh.
fantastic. So
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you for
man.
coming.
Thank you.
Shout out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to see you again
Yeah.
after the finals. Want to
When-
see you back so we can deliberate.
anytime you guys want me, anytime.
Okay.